4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to Racing World, brought to you by Perspective Group. It's your motorsport podcast show in conjunction with Race Control Magazine.
Well, hi everyone, welcome to Racing World. Another little special for you, Baku Grand Prix we're mainly talking about today, and we're in a boys' playhouse this week. It's amazing. This is courtesy of Bob. So, Bob, thanks for the use of the garage.
That's all right. While you're here, you can do some work. You can see there's a bit of a car here that might need a bit of rebuild. But anyway, we'll get on with that later.
Or maybe that could become a special in the future, the progress of the car.
Yeah, don't expect it to be any more than 5 episodes to 50 episodes, I think.
Well, lots to talk about this week, mainly centred around Formula 1, big Grand Prix in the weekend.
Yeah.
So let's start with Baku. Formula 2?
Well, Formula 2, yeah. I mean, what a crash fest, basically, Formula 2. But if you combine the likes of Baku, a track I've got to say that I never did like, but I'm quite in favour of it now because it throws up some really different stuff. Formula 2, I write notes and all sorts of things.
Yes,
all these races,
yes.
I just write during the evening because I forget things because I get so excited and so pissed off with stuff happening or not. But, you know, in Formula 2, all I had to write here was basically in notes. Got to feel sorry for Marcus Armstrong.
Yes.
I mean, he's been
big time.
He has been taken out more times than your favourite umbrella these days. In Monaco, in the wall, when he was doing pretty well. Twice at Baku. I mean, he's just in the wrong place, wrong time so many times. Got to feel sorry for him. Liam Lawson, he was stuffed, basically. His weekend started off badly. Well, it started off well. Good qualifying for the race, obviously. And then didn't go that well in the first race, the sprint race. Second sprint race, an amazing job. Came all the way from basically the back to 7th or something like that. What a great drive. Around there, fantastic drive. And then in the race itself, in the main race, the feature race, he was on pole position, but he got a bad getaway, simple as that. And then I think he did make a mistake by taking Théo Pourchaire all the way through into the pit lane, and it was judged to be a penalty. My biggest problem with that is that happened again later in the race with other drivers, no penalty given. So if they're going to start penalising people for that sort of thing, rightly so, do it for everybody. Not just guys at the front. That happened later on, and I thought that was pretty bad. Théo Pourchaire, incidentally, the winner of Monaco, and the guy that Liam escorted sideways, he ended up with a broken or a fractured arm, not from that incident, from a later incident. So, you know, it's unfortunate for him. I'm not sure how that's going to affect his future races. They've got a long time now. They've got till Silverstone, which is, goodness me, in the end of July or whatever it is to do it. But the upstart of it all is Liam had a great race in the end. He did really well. Unfortunately, he's dropped in points a little bit. Guan Yu Zhou leads on 78 points. And then you get Piastri, Schwartzman, Vips, Ticktum, Pourchaire. Dan Ticktum. I mean, for goodness sakes, calm down, boy. He's always been like that through his career. He loses more drives because of what he says than what he does on track. It's just, anyway. Daruvala and Lawson is in 8th with 50 points. Marcus Armstrong 15th with 12 points. They need to get a bit going, but of course it's a fairly short season.
Yes.
There's only 6 events with 3 races in each event and only 1 feature race in each one. So Liam's still got it.
Hard game, isn't it? Yeah. Hard game right now.
Liam's absolutely quick, and his driving is fantastic. So, you know, he's going to get there. Marcus has just got to stay on the track for a while, or keep away from people who are putting him off the track. Such a shame.
Well, I'm going to go back to what you said before, the fact that you kind of almost like Baku now. I've gone the other way. I don't like it at all. I watched a Nico Rosberg YouTube clip online where he explained every single corner of the track and analysed every single corner of the track. And I came away from it thinking, this is dumb. This is not really a pure motor racing track as we know it. Yes, it's high speed. Yes, it's got, tight turns and but some of the turns are stupid. And the one thing that Nico said that stayed in my mind since then is the way a piece of wall juts out just before pit lane at the highest speed point in the track. Yeah, it's bloody dangerous.
Yeah, but nobody's hit it yet.
No one's hit it yet.
They've been there 4 or 5 years. And you're calling a track like that not really a racing track. We've just come from Monaco. Yeah. And Monaco is the most boring track going. Baku was not boring.
Yeah,
some of the race, in the middle of the race, the Formula One race, that was a bit tedious, and it was good to see Max Verstappen rushing out there and getting somewhere. But it's not a boring track anymore. There are no tracks in the world where you can do 200 or 330 kilometres an hour, and the next thing you're doing is basically going to 30
in the supermarket
kilometres
car
an hour.
park.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've got to be a fan of it simply, not a fan maybe, but I've got to like it simply because it throws up something different all the time. And you've got to be on, it's a little bit like Monaco. There's not many runoff areas. It's absolutely the right thing to do. But there are overtaking places. No, I think it's, if you want excitement in motorsport, if you want competition, put people on different tracks, you're going to get it. What we've got now coming up, Paul Ricard in a couple of weeks, the most boring race we've ever had, and then 2 races at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. So it's 3 on the trot. Ricard has got to come. They've got to do something there because that will turn out to be a procession. Going back to the race, obviously we saw what happened with Max Verstappen and then Hamilton.
And Lance Stroll.
And Lance Stroll. But between those two leading the championship, between them, or Max is leading the championship, they kind of negated each other. But who did it hurt most? It hurt Max Verstappen most.
Yes.
Because that was a track they expected to do well at and would have done well at. The tracks coming up now revert to Mercedes. So, I think Red Bull, although they won the race, were the losers because of Max out of it rather than Hamilton, who made his own mistake. And, all this stuff he says each time, boys, we've got to do better. Well, you've got to do better, Lewis. You've got to do better.
Yeah, that was the normal thing.
Yeah.
I liked leading into the race weekend, your other favourite topic at the moment, flexi wings, and your other favourite topic, Christian Horner, all came up in a statement from Toto Wolff saying the fact that he thinks that Christian just likes seeing himself in the media a lot.
Yeah, a windbag.
Yeah.
A windbag, yeah.
So I thought that was quite appropriate. The war of words.
Yeah, the limbo wings. We heard all about these limbo wings for the last couple of 3 weeks. What's the one thing you didn't hear about over the weekend?
The wings.
Limbo wings.
Yeah.
And
yet this was an area where they were going to clamp down on it.
Yep. Well, the FIA put these stickers on all the wings
little
now
dots.
so they can see. And when they showed them, moving low downforce wings, they're not going to move very much anyway. But actually, that brings me to another thing. There's 2.5 tons of pressure on the back on that rear wing. Can you imagine what the rest of the car's like? I don't know what downforce they produce these days, but it's a lot. And they're on tyres that are expected to do 330 kilometres an hour with, 4 or 5 tons, whatever it is, on pressure. And then continually go round and round the track on slow tracks, all sorts of things on a debris-laden circuit, and then a couple of tyres blow out. Now, I'm not saying it's Pirelli's fault or not, but surely the cars have got to be brought into this. The cars are getting too heavy. They've got too much downforce. There's an awful lot of responsibility to be taken on by the cars themselves or the teams, I think. It's easy to blame Pirelli. If it's a Pirelli fault, they've got to come out and say it. They can't just keep coming out and saying debris on the track caused the car.
It's ownership, isn't it? Yeah. Ownership of the problem.
But people have got to believe them. If they do say it's debris, I mean, it's not going to look very good for them. If it's proven to be a tyre construction failure, the construction has gone up this year, the tyres are heavier. I don't know. It's obviously something that's got to be sorted out, but because it's plain dangerous.
What about the podium, eh? Vettel back on the podium. That's is kind of what we've all quietly probably been wanting to see.
Yeah. I mean, I've got here. Wasn't it fantastic to see Vettel up there? Look, there it is there. And it was good to see him up there. It was even better to see Perez up there because I think he was, he joined a pretty hot environment going into Red Bull.
Alex Albon, you're going, oh God, there we.
So it was good to see Perez there, and he raced that. He wasn't given it. Maybe he wouldn't have got away with the restart if Lewis Hamilton hadn't pressed the magic button and got his braking all wrong. I don't know, but Red Bull won that weekend, as simple as that. It's just a shame that even Perez was having a problem with his hydraulics at the end there. They weren't even sure he was going to finish it.
That takes a lot of pressure off Perez too, though, doesn't it, in many ways, because he's got
it does.
something under his belt now. So you've got the likes of Christian and Helmut Marko going,
Yep.
oh, well, we made the right decision.
Yeah, indeed.
It's justified the
does.
decision.
Absolutely, it does, because he was right up the back of Max Verstappen. He's never going to be Max, or probably beat Max.
But he did the job he was employed to
but
do.
He's exactly right there. If you can't win it, I'll
points.
win it. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps all the way through. Vettel, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, that's
It's just
kind
a
of
good
fairy
story.
tale, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even Gasly, what a great little driver he's
Yeah.
turning into be these days. I mean, lots of things could happen. Raikkonen scored points.
Yeah.
You know, it's Alonso getting better and better. He
Yeah.
beat Ocon.
Yeah, I liked
okay.
Alonso's comments post-race where he was talking to the team on the team radio, and this is the start of progress. I thought that was quite valid.
Yeah.
But again, it could be different when we get to Paul Ricard or Silverstone.
Oh, look, the whole thing will change once you
that's
get
what
to
it's
tracks where tracks are happening. Yeah, Valtteri Bottas is one thing that needs to change. He needs to start performing big time.
Driver under
I mean,
pressure.
he wasn't anywhere near the weekend. He just, his plane was delayed. His private jet was delayed for hours or something getting there. Maybe it would have been better if he'd stayed there, because George Russell would have taken over the drive. Unfortunately, George Russell and Williams didn't have a very good weekend. George had a power problem, and Latifi was... I don't know how that happened. He was supposed to come in for the drive-through, and his engineer is yelling to him, "Stay out, stay out, stay out." What did the guy think? Is it American racing? You can catch up a lap or something?
Now that we're starting to see it too, and the Bottas thing play out, it kind of starts to smack of, you could be in trouble come contract renewal.
Oh, yeah, I think he's been in trouble all year.
It's just lots of things, the way the reaction's coming, and then the counter reaction from Toto and everything. It just smacks of, here we go.
I think he's been in trouble all year. He has got to overperform just to perform.
Yeah.
Just to be there.
He needs a couple of race wins badly.
He needs to be in front, or at least equal to Lewis Hamilton a lot more than he is, because he isn't at all. Yes, he gets pole positions and he's really good on a qualifying lap now and again, but when it comes to the race, he just seems to drop the ball somehow or other.
Brutal side of the sport.
Backwards, where did he actually finish? He finished in 12th, ahead of him, Giovinazzi.
But no points. So
No.
it's exactly the reverse of what we were just saying about Perez. Even though Max didn't finish, Perez got points for Red Bull.
Exactly that. I mean, look who finished in front of him. I know it was a little bit different because of accidents, things like that, but Alonso, Tsunoda, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, they all finished in front of Bottas. It's just, you shouldn't be doing
Not
that.
expected.
No. What else have we got? Because I'll carry on about this all day, and you'll have gone to bed by the time I've finished. So
And we will have made no progress on the car either.
no, that's not going to happen. What else have we got written down there? Perez had a hydraulic. Mercedes, despite Hamilton, not so good. They didn't have a good weekend generally, did they? They could have done if Hamilton hadn't have cocked up his braking. He might have won that race on the restart. I'm an absolute fan of red flag starts now.
Me too.
Sorry,
Yeah.
red flag grid starts, not
Yes.
not a safety car or whatever start. Absolutely, and all the drivers seem to be as well. Absolutely fraught for 2 laps. I mean, or maybe 3 laps, 2 laps. I just thought that was fantastic. Pirelli, Debris, Williams, Ferrari looking good. They are still looking good. But once again we get back to proper tracks, we'll see the difference. The upshot of it all is that, Red Bull now lead Mercedes by 26 points in the constructors, which is
Big.
It's
the start.
It's getting on there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's getting on there. So, and Max Verstappen and Hamilton are the same. Perez is in 3rd position. Lando Norris in 4th position now. There was one huge dark cloud for me on over the whole weekend, and that is the announced death of Mansour Ogier. And Mansour Ogier, I've got to say, was a very good friend to Sean and myself. We worked with him for an awful long time. His wife Kathy, the kids, his brother Aziz, we knew them pretty well, I've got to say. And I know Mansour he's been sick for about 15 years, very ill for about 15 years or more, 20 years. But it was still sad to see him go. There were 2 people that were responsible in a professional sense for where McLaren is today. 2 people. Now one of them is dead, Mansour Ogier. The other one, Ron Dennis, of course. And they had a partnership that was unbelievable for such a long time. Unfortunately, that partnership did not last, but it's very sad, Mansour Ogier going. You will ask he was a billionaire. And you will ask anybody in the paddock about Mansour Roja, and the first things they come up with is one of the nicest people I ever met. And believe me, he was one of the nicest people you will ever have met. If you did meet him, you know what I mean. Sadly missed him.
Yeah, it's tragic when anyone passes, but when someone significant within a team or the sport, the loss becomes just that much greater, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, you know, people personally, and it's a shame. What a silly word that is. It's a shame, but unfortunately.
Moving on to a few other things just to keep you all informed. IndyCar, latest news there. No replacement currently announced for the Toronto street race. So Toronto's definitely gone. Oh, by the way, Singapore, gone for F1.
Yeah, Singapore.
Maybe 2 American races at COTA. Don't know if I'm a fan of that. I don't think they'll get a full house for
Maybe
either of them.
Run them back backwards.
Just do something
come down that hill.
I guess it's convenient because you're in the place, so you stay and you do a double header. But Singapore gone for F1. Toronto's still gone for IndyCar. Unlikely. I was expecting that there'd be an announcement at Indianapolis about maybe a replacement or a calendar rejig. That hasn't happened. It impacts on all the road to IndyCar categories as well, because they were all due to be in Toronto. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. This morning, Santino Ferrucci announced that he'll be driving for Rahal Letterman Lanigan at Detroit for both races this weekend. So 3 cars for them this weekend.
He's a loose cannon, isn't he?
He's a very loose cannon, but you know, you got to have it. So Elio confirmed for another 5 races for this year with Meyer Shank Racing, which was already in the mix anyway, but 100% confirmed. And I'd have to say, Bob, he'll be back to have a go for 5 at Indy.
Oh, of course he will. Why wouldn't he? The Indy 500 people, Roger Penske would pay him to come back just for the value
and
of it.
I don't think sponsorship will be a problem for Meyer Shank somehow.
No, probably not. No.
Elio's worked the media really well in true Elio fashion in the last week or so in the States. He's visited here, there and everywhere. He went back to the house that he saw pre the race, which IndyCar had set up so that drivers could go to various homes around Indiana because of still some COVID restrictions. So he went back there after the race. He didn't need to. He just decided he would. And he went and knocked on the door and saw the people there. And then they've got a tribute out the front of a person climbing a fence and stuff.
I didn't get this. Was he staying at the house then?
No. He just did it.
What did they arrange the house for?
IndyCar had arranged as you know, in the times we've been there, people decorate their homes up. So it was most decorated homes. Of that, each driver in the field went to a home to meet the fan base. Okay. Elio went there pre-race, did his normal magic with these people, but then he decided he'd go back post-race as well. They didn't even expect him, and he turns up on the doorstep. So
he probably left a pair of shoes there or something.
But all in all, good things. We just need to see what that does to the calendar. Alex Palau obviously ahead on points now, so there's some things to come here. Domestically, not really a lot happening. There was a rally in Canterbury over the weekend.
Yep.
There's North Island Endurance Series coming up, but it's kind of at that quiet phase really at the moment. Overseas, race at Spa over the weekend, but the run up to El Rouge was flooded. It was like a little river.
That wasn't the flooded. Just anybody want to see what Spa looked like, just go onto YouTube and
try and find the
Spa
clip.
flood, because it is the tunnel where we used to go underneath. You can't see the tunnel. It's so far underwater. The tunnel has gone completely. But
Jackson Evans performing well in Porsche again. Bamber's had a run at the Nuremberg 24 hours, average run there. So all in all, the Kiwis are still out and about. The boys are all back on road to Indy again soon. So really, other than that, we don't really have a hell of a lot this week. Other than the fact that we've got to start work on your Bambina here.
No, yeah. Well, off you go. IndyCar this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, doubleheader at Detroit. So, again, big points on the table at the doubleheader. Detroit, incredibly rough circuit. Like for a street course, they're always rough. This one's mega rough. I've been there 3 times now. It's not necessarily what you'd call a fan-friendly circuit in terms of viewing points. There's some good viewing points, but it's hard to kind of get a good picture of the race. But effectively double points really over the 2 races. So you've got to perform on those. Very, very physically demanding as well.
Scott needs to get a couple of extra points, get back up in the lead championship. And the other Scott needs to get some points to get further up in the championship. So,
Yeah. So we've
there
got
is
it sussed.
interest.
Yeah.
There is interest.
So with that, we're going to leave you. Don't forget, thanks so much for watching the show. Remember to like, share and subscribe. It really is starting to take a bit of impact on it. We really, really appreciate it. We just enjoy doing this and sharing our tales and maybe even the birth of this fine automobile here.
No, but it might be a while. It might be a while.
So we'll get back to you on that one. But in the meantime, take care out there. Do be COVID safe, and we look forward to catching up with you again soon.